Greetings once again, my friends, and welcome back to yet another but strongly needed update. It's been a while since we've done one of these, where I've actually been able to sit back and talk to you guys, and part of that has just been because of how crazy this year has been. And while I do apologize for that, I've been promising to do this video pretty much all year. We're here to do it. And so at that point, this is basically, for those who are interested, for those who are not, this is going to be an update, pretty much the update that I was promising for most of the year on what was going to be going on with the YouTube channel, with the podcasts, with a lot of stuff, because, well, quite a bit has changed in my life, and and I want to give a little bit of an explanation as to why things changed. I know that a few people just think like I got lazy, or that I just didn't want to make content anymore, or something like that. More specifically, I didn't want to make the content that they wanted. And I just want to kind of reassure that no, that wasn't the case. Basically what happened was, by the end of 2018, I had hit yet another point of burnout. And this one was probably stronger than a lot of the other ones that I've had. And I know that a lot of people could say, like, this has happened to me quite often, and it has. Like, I'm not even arguing that, but this time around, it was a lot harder than any of the other times. And part of that was just because I was pushing myself to the brink, especially since my youngest daughter came, and I was trying to make the best of YouTube, and things just it felt like kept getting worse and worse. I was trying to be able to make the channel work and not really making a lot of ground, and I have no problem admitting, like, I was worrying about the wrong things at that given time, and those were bugging the crap out of me, and it kind of drove me into the ground. And so by the beginning of 2019, I was already looking into YouTube. To be frank with people, I love being able to do what I do, but around that time, I wasn't enjoying it at all. I didn't want to get on a camera. In fact, it took some prodding from Andrea for the first little bit when we started up live streams to get me on a camera, because I didn't want to do it. I was so pissed off because I couldn't. It felt like I was treading water. It felt like I was not being able to honor the commitments that I had made in my own life with this channel, as well as the commitments that I know a lot of you have been so gracious to lend to me. Like, you guys have invested in my channel, and I wanted to make that work, that I got so frustrated and depressed that I just didn't want to really do anything. And I'm not making excuses for it. I'm just telling you exactly where I was at that time, and I still kind of am there. So I decided, and this was around the first time I was saying I was going to give you guys a video, I decided I was going to take a couple of months and kind of reassess things and figure out if my priorities were in the right place. And for the most part, I did come to a decision that they kind of aren't, especially given how YouTube is going and the changes that happened not only in the previous year but also this year. It just wasn't really in the cards to worry so much about YouTube compared to, say, my kids, or being able to take care of my own health, which at that point, because of how overstressed I was was not in good shape there either. I still kind of am recovering from it, but so I took those couple of months, and then things just went bad for 2019. I know a lot of people have been joking that, you know, I'm over dramatizing how bad things got in 2019. This was a bad year, and it started roughly after. I think my couple-month break was going to end around April, and then my mom passed away in May, and it just, like, every other month, or every month to other month, we would just have something else. It was either a family health emergency, or we got into a car accident, and so we had to go and get a new car, but we had to reconsider like what kind of a car we needed to get, because this was going to be my wife's car. And since she has a job where she needs to go to, and I have the luxury of being able to work at home, we needed to make sure we got the right car there. We had family emergencies pretty much throughout the rest of this year, as well as just financial emergencies, stuff that just had to be done. And it pretty much just went, and that's also why there were a lot of absences with the podcast, because I had to take extra time for myself, because either I was dealing with like my mom passing or other family medical emergencies, or my body was just basically suffering the whiplash from that. So I don't want this all to be just like a giant apology video, but I at least wanted to explain to you guys what this year has been like. That's why in a lot of cases I am not sad to see 2019 go. And I'm very happy that we now have a new year where we can just kind of start things fresh. And one of the first things that I'm going to be doing is kind of reassessing the YouTube channel as well as the podcasts. And I've already kind of figured all this out because I had so much time in between while recovering to be able to think about it. To just give you guys an update and tell you what's going to happen with the channel and what's going to happen with the podcasts and pretty much everything else. Because I know a lot of people are asking, where is my Let's Play of Diablo? Where is Tale of Drakfu? Where's Final Fantasy VIII? Where's all of it? Because a lot of it is late, and it's simply because crap hit the fan numerous times, and I had to sit back and handle things at my pace. So, without further ado, let's actually get into that. And I want to start specifically with the podcasts first, because I've had a little bit of an issue with that, especially with YouTube viewers, and I want to make this perfectly clear. I am not trying to make things difficult for listeners of the podcast on YouTube. You guys want to come to YouTube to be able to listen to the podcast. I understand that. But I need to be frank with you for just a minute. The podcasts have no future on YouTube. And it's taken me a while to be able to realize that. And now here's the thing. I love what I do on YouTube, but podcasting is my passion. Podcasting is my love, like my first love. I would love doing that far longer after Let's Plays are done. And I want that to live, and I want that to be able to survive. And it just can't in the YouTube environment. Getting new listeners and new viewers, I've had virtually no luck being able to do that on YouTube, and a lot of that is me, a lot of that is you, and I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just basically saying I have to go another route for it. So for all those that are irritated by me constantly pushing the RSS feed, I get that you're annoyed. I get that you don't want to hear about it, but that's how the podcast is going to thrive from here on. And that's why I do a bunch of RSS exclusive content for it, to urge people to be able to go there. Is it complex? Yeah, no, I totally understand that. But if you reach out to me, which a few people, I'm not going to call anybody out, but if you're going to complain about it instead of reaching out to me, because I'd be more than happy to help you be able to set up the RSS feed, like help you get it on iTunes or something else to be able to download the episodes, because that helps me. I'm not trying to make it harder for you. I want to be able to help you so that it helps me, kind of thing. So at that point, I know I'm rambling a little bit, but that's just because I really wanted this video to come from the heart. So first order of business that I want to take care of is I've gotten a lot of questions as to whether or not the RSS exclusive content will ever make it to YouTube. I've considered it, and I've decided no. It's going to remain on the RSS feed because I feel like it benefits better there. The last thing I want to see have happen is our Geek News theaters get demonetized because somebody got offended by them. And that's likely to happen. But on top of that, it is exactly what it is intended to be. It's to urge people to go to the RSS feed. So if that's a problem for you, I totally understand. If that means that you don't want to support the podcast anymore, I understand that too. And I'm sorry that we couldn't work things out, but this is the way that I've decided to go moving forward. In the meantime, if you want to be able to work with me, I'd be more than happy to get you on the RSS feed so that you can get all that content. But that's kind of the decision that I've made. As far as content for the podcast, this is probably the biggest one that I know a lot of people are asking. Am I basically trying to get off of YouTube, and not, especially with like the live recordings of Geek News and Why We Geek and all that stuff? I'm not trying to get off of it, but I have to plan just in case we do get kicked off. Because the bottom line is this. YouTube now has enough power to be able to say that we don't find you viable market-wise. We don't like what you talk about. We don't like who you criticize. We don't like how you breathe funny. We don't like how your eyes look cross-eyed to us. They have any reason that they want to be able to kick us off. And at that point, where do we go? That's what I'm trying to do right now, is I'm trying to figure out, okay, just in case YouTube kicks us off, or just in case we just can't stand being on YouTube anymore, both are likely concepts, we will start looking for a new home for the podcast in the meantime. And maybe what we'll do is you guys will get your Friday broadcast, which it's still going to be Friday. And I'm not 100% on that, but right now it still is. The only reason I say that is because some of the panelists' jobs changed as far as days that they work and time that they're off. So we might have to readjust that, but obviously we will let you know. So at that point, we are still going to do the live recordings on Friday, but we also might go and record somewhere else, like say on Mixer, to be able to ingratiate a new audience as well as be able to bring you guys in. We will always offer a way for you guys to be able to come. I have no problem, or I have no inclination to leave you out. Because here's the thing. YouTube is responsible for the bullcrap that is going on, not you. And I know that it's a lot easier to go to YouTube, but we will make it as easy as we possibly can for you to be able to join us. Because, we love you guys. You guys support us. So it's still going to be going on Friday nights. We are going to be coming back January 17th, and that is going to be the best and worst of 2019. And then the following week, we are back to news as usual. And for the RSS feed, we have plenty of other things that are going to be coming to that. Starting things off, we obviously have Geek News Theater. That's still going to be going. Geek News Movie Night, where we have 2 brand new movies. We have Avengers Endgame for 2019, as well as The Rise of Skywalker. We also do have 2 older movies with Independence Day and Beetlejuice. And we're going to be coming back in February with another movie night that Alex is picking for a movie based on true events. Not only that, we are going to be going into a lot of people know that on the YouTube channel we have Geek News Game Night. That'll stay on YouTube. It feels really good there. So we'll probably keep that there, but I also plan on doing an RSS version of it, basically like a Geek News game discussion, where we talk about a recently released game and give our thoughts on it, or give our thoughts on a series of games, or stuff like that. Like go over geek news or go over gaming news a little bit more in depth than we are able to within a 2-hour podcast. So you guys will be able to see that very soon. Geek News Theater is going to continue on into 2019 or into 2020. Sorry. And we also are going to be starting up a whole new segment on there called, I don't have a name for it yet, but it's basically going to be Geek News Interviews. Because a lot of you have reached out and said, do you know this guy on YouTube? Do you know this guy on YouTube? Do you know this streamer? And the bottom line is, most of them I don't, but I'd like to get to know. If you guys think that it would be a good fit, that's going to be the way that I can do it, is that we'll either make them episodes of their own, or we'll put them in between a podcast, and you guys can enjoy the interview as a kind of midway segment in between stories. So like, and it may be like one or two of us interviewing a person, or it may just be him or her sitting with me. We're going to work out those details, but I think it'll be an awesome way to be able to bring more people in and maybe be able to get in more guests for Geek News, because I would love that. I love being able to talk to new people and be able to share some of the weirdest news that happens during the week. So those are all the major things that are happening for the Geek News podcast. Run of the Ropes fans and Why We Geek fans. Run of the Ropes, it actually got some podcasts this year compared to Why We Geek. And part of that was because, like, I think the last episode we recorded was WrestleMania. And there were two things. Like, my life got really, really busy, but also David Vito's did. And what would basically happen was we'd set up a day, and then all of a sudden, 11th hour on that day, one of us would have to cancel because either he had work or I had kids or some other reason. I remember my mom's funeral was actually one of the reasons too. Is, you know, we couldn't record that day because my mom's funeral was that day too, and I was going to be traveling. So at that point, me and David Vito have not dropped the podcast. I think the plan right now is to start up fresh next year, or this year rather, and get another episode out. We still have interest in being able to do some of the other ideas that you guys have presented, like being able to sit back and watch a wrestling match together. But I think the bigger priority here for the moment is to get consistency on that podcast, be able to find some kind of pattern that works between him and me and be able to consistently do it. And right now, I think that's probably going to be a once a month kind of thing. And then if we can do one of these bonus episodes, we will do it. We just have to plan it out. So that's going to be the plans for the Run on the Ropes podcast. It is coming back. Me and David Vito really want it to come back. We want to talk about all of the stuff in wrestling that we missed over the year. So you could expect that very soon. Why We Geek fans. Why We Geek fans. You guys got shafted this year, and I am sorry about that. Mainly because while I liked doing the podcast, and it was a once-a-month deal, so I should have been able to make it work, with everything that came up in life, I was not able to plan out panels, I was not able to ask people to join panels, and I was not able to figure things out. The only episode that we technically got for Why We Geek, aside from Dragon Ball, was the unpopular opinions in anime. And that is actually one of the things that we aim to do from here on, is Why We Geek. It probably won't have a once a month schedule anymore. It'll be done when we can get it done. That's kind of one of the cool things about Geek News interviews, is that we can get more people for panels, and it might just be a little bit easier to set up stuff. But the other main problem is that, you know, crap can happen to anybody. And so at that point, I'd much rather get an episode done and then plan the next one. And one of the other things that I think is going to join us is the unpopular opinions kind of concept that Shay and myself have come up with. And it doesn't even need to be unpopular. It can be popular opinions. Why does a game franchise work the way it does? Why is Final Fantasy so good? Why is Harry Potter so good? Because we can easily flip that on the upside and it'd still be enjoyable. And we still have plans for that. But it's not going to be on a regular schedule. We're going to get it going when we can get it going. Because I'm going to tell you, the unpopular stuff with Shay might not be as regular, just because she has a life too, and so we have to plan that out. So that's going to be the thing. It's not going to be a regular schedule, but when we do get an episode out to you, we will get it in your hands, and you guys will be able to enjoy it. And we will try and record on YouTube.